So thank you all for joining this virtual conference. This conference is called the Third International Conference on Education, Engineering, Interdisciplinary, Social Science and Technology, SITE22. We were expected to have the physical conference in Baby Hotel Georgetown in Penang, Malaysia. Unfortunately, we do not receive sufficient number from participants who registered as a presenter face-to-face. So we have to withdraw that physical conference. However, we still have the option to continue with the conference on the virtual platform, which is the virtual conference, and also submission of your research paper via video presentation. Okay. So all of you here actually choose to join the conference as a virtual presenter or virtual conference via Zoom platform. Thank you very much for attending this conference. This conference is recorded. The recording will be published in the YouTube channel, and then the URL of that YouTube channel will be provided to you so that you can refer back to this virtual conference at any time of your convenience. Moving on. Okay, now we started a bit later, so we are late by half an hour. I'm sorry about that. The agenda is very simple. I'm doing the opening session and welcoming address now. I should be finishing in probably 10 minutes or so, and then we can start with the presentation session immediately after that. Okay. So the list is here. As you know, the participant number 1, 2, and 3 not so far has not been attending to this conference, and also number 6. Yeah. We go to the next slide. Participant number 13 is also not joining. So we are left with about 5 presenter and 2 listeners. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
So I think most importantly is what next after this conference. So I think I'll spend a little bit more time discussing about those activities at our end. Excuse me. What happened after this conference? Okay. So again, I mentioned just now the virtual conference is recorded, and the recording will be posted in YouTube. Okay, next thing is the certificates. Yeah. The e-certificates in PDF format will be provided to all of you. Okay. The participant who register as a presenter virtual conference, and also participant who register as presenter video presentation. They will receive their e-certificates in PDF format. Okay. Within a week after the conference, but normally we provide within 1 or 2 days. Next Monday or next Tuesday, basically we'll have all the certificate ready for you via the email. Yeah. Not only you actually as the username or the corresponding author of your research paper, but all authors mentioned in your research paper will also provided with the e-certificate as well. Yeah. And then for you, for those not you, for participants who register as a presenter video presentation, their presentation video will be published in YouTube channel within a week. But also normally we'll do that within 2 to 3 days after today. We'll have all the videos published in the YouTube channel, and then the URL will be shared via email to all of them. Yeah. Next thing that we do is the publication of conference proceeding book and publication in journal. So our commitment is within a month and 3 months respectively after the conference. Publication in conference proceeding book. If we receive all the papers timely, we will be able to publish the proceeding book earlier. Yeah. So I understand there are some of you who have not submitted the full paper yet. I would encourage that you submit the paper earlier so that we can process for proceeding publication earlier. But our commitment is within a month, and then your paper will also be published in our referee journal within 3 months from today. Yeah. Now our referee journal, the lists are provided in the website. There are also occasions that participants do not wish to publish in our referee journal, which is fine. They have their own selected journal they want to publish. Some participants only want to publish their abstract in the proceeding book, which is also fine. Okay, it's really up to the participant. Okay, what they want to be, whether they want to publish their full paper in the proceeding or not, and so on. Yeah. The conference proceeding book will be published in a PDF format. Basically, it is not online. It is offline. However, the journal publication is online. Okay. From our past experience, 90% of the papers that are submitted to us through our conferences, the same paper actually is published in the conference book, conference proceeding book, and also in the referee journal. So to avoid the similarity index issue, we only publish the conference proceeding book offline, basically in PDF format. All right, and only the journal is online. So once it is published in the proceeding book will be emailed to all of you, and then once we have completed the publication in the journal, you will also receive the URL of the journal so that you can actually access the journal and cross-check your publication as well. All right. In the past, we normally provide publication services in high index journals such as Scopus and Web of Science, but after the pandemic COVID-19 until now, we have actually temporarily suspended our services because a lot of things going on in Scopus. They have gone through a lot of processes. The publication is getting more stringent and difficult. I think they impose a better quality in terms of checking, more comprehensive, so that the quality is sustained in their publication. So as a result of that, the cost of publication has gone up quite tremendously, and also the time taken for them to get the paper reviewed and then acceptance notification, and then the actual publication is longer than before. So with all those in place, we have decided not to proceed with the publication services in high index journal until situation probably normalize at certain time, at some time in the future. Okay. So if you wish to publish in a journal, in a high index journal, you may try to publish directly to the journal, or you go through other publishers who still offer the services to you. Okay. So publication in conference proceeding book, all accepted papers will be published, okay, in the CPB in PDF format. Okay, you may amend until probably the end of the week if you need to amend. However, if you don't, that is fine. The paper that you submit to us to the conference will be published in this CPB. I mentioned to you it is not online. The reason is because we want to avoid similarity index with the paper that we publish in the referee journal. Paper is with ISBN number. The application has been submitted to our National Library, who is the authorized agency who deal with the ISBN and ISSN number for the country. Okay. The conference proceeding book may look like this. Okay. It is the first page or the cover page, and then there's a copyright page, preface page, abstract, and also the table of content over here. Okay, followed by the your papers, basically the list of the papers, which is sequenced in the alphabetical order of the title. Okay, again I mentioned about the publication in the refereed journal. Commitment is within 1 to 3 months. A journal are indexed by the Malaysian Informatic and Citation Center under the Ministry of Higher Education of Malaysia. Okay, all journals are online. Then you will be provided with the URL to access the journal and check the publication. Okay, you may want to revise the paper. We will provide you the opportunity. Normally, we will send you email notification before we publish your paper in the journal. So we will ask you whether you want to revise or not. If you want to revise, we will provide you the journal formatted paper. Your paper will be formatted to our journal settings, and then we'll provide you that copy so that you can do your revision in that copy. All right. Once you are done, you email the revised copy back to us so that we can publish in the journal. Okay. Any question before I move forward? There are another 1 or 2 slides. Do you have any question?
No, Doctor.
Yeah.
No, none for now. Thank you.
No question. Thank you very much. Let me move forward. These are the list of the journal that we currently have, covering the major research disciplines. All right. These are the social science or education, pedagogy, engineering, economy, accounting, finance, and so on. Okay. In all likelihood, most papers will probably fall into any one of these journals. Okay. So in summary, as far as publication is concerned, we will do for you publication in conference proceeding book, and then we will do the journal publication. However, we are not able to provide you the publication services for high index journal. So we are saying that this service is not currently available. Okay. Your submission to us, please provide your manuscript in Microsoft Word. Because if you submit in PDF, we are not able to format your paper according to the proceeding standard and also journal publication standard. Okay, we have to change your page number, for instance. We have also to put header and footers accordingly. And then we also do formatting, editing with respect to the font, and then the spacing, and then the paragraphing, and so on. And then the publication, the referencing as well. Okay, so the referencing also in the template we're saying that you should comply to APA edition 6, but some of us they don't really follow that that particular format, so we have to edit that as well. Okay, all right. So that is the summary, and then these are the list of our upcoming conferences until end of October. Yeah. Typically we will have our conference, 2 conferences in a month, and we have selected 4 major venues around Malaysia. So Penang is one. We are supposed to have one in Penang. Unfortunately, we cannot have one because of the insufficient numbers that we receive. KL is another one, Langkawi, and also Putrajaya. So our conferences are located in any one of these 4. Okay, any one of these 4 venues. So for your information, I think for conference that we're going to have in 16 July, which is the next week from now, in Kuala Lumpur, have received quite a number of registration. I think more than 40 registration already. So probably KL is more convenient to many of us. Yeah. Okay. So that's about all. as far as opening session is concerned and also introduction, if you have any question, we can save those questions at the end of this conference, or you can email us, and then we will respond your email as soon as we can. Okay. So coming back, I would like also to probably we have how many here? Let me sorry, let me summarize how many of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 9. Thank you very much for all of you who attend this conference. So without further ado, I would like to call upon the first speaker, which happens to be presenter number 4, Dr. Sarala. Dr. Sarala Tulasi Palpadanan. Yes, can you take over the floor, please?
Yes, thank you very much, Dr.
Ready
Shafi'i.
with your presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shafi'i. Can I let my co-researcher present?
No problem, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon,
Let me stop
everyone.
sharing. Okay, go on.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Chairperson. May I
Thank you.
share my screen? Okay, may I check if you can see my screen, Doctor?
I can. I hope everybody else can.
Okay, if it's okay, may I begin my presentation?
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Vanusha Ravana, and I'm representing my my co-researcher, Dr. Sarala, to present our systematic review. I am presenting the findings for our paper called Stakeholder Requirements for a 21st Century School Science Education in Malaysia. Okay, moving on. To introduce our research premise, first of all, we have to look at the global aspirations for a 21st century school science education. Hold on here. Okay, if we look at the first point, the global aspirations as a collective call based on the OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the Education 2030, and the Partnership for 21st Century Learning framework all call for a broader science education goals. This shows heightened focus for personal well-being and societal values through core subjects such as science and maths and even STEM design. This calls for learning environments that are more diverse, differentiated, and multi-sourced. Now, bringing this to realize in the current Malaysian school science education, the focuses in the national education policies through Pembelajaran Abad ke-21 or translated as 21st Century Learning for science education focus on scientific knowledge, scientific skills and literacies, and the third domain, attitudes and noble values. This is to produce more lifelong learners of science with focus towards responsible citizenship. And we also have this global classroom model, which now offers multi-level collaboration and boundaryless collaboration between inter-classes, inter-schools, inter-states, and even international level collaborations to expose students to real-world research, developments, and issues using a humanistic approach, as realized by the three domains that I explained earlier. Now, looking at the problem, despite so much of efforts thrown into realizing these aspirations by the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Science and Technology, and other ministries, Malaysia's progression into 21st century science learning culture has been slow, according to the researchers that I've cited here. you can see the emerging issues in two trends, okay? First of all, we can see a decline in number of students opting for science and technology options. Students are growing increasingly disinterested towards certain pedagogies, the unappealing learning environments, assessment-based learning, especially at the upper secondary level, complex syllabus starting from the lower secondary school level, and lack of facilities and opportunities for further exploration. In fact, they are more interested to venture into other fields such as digital arts, and communication due to lucrative career options as well. Secondly, there's also a reported underwhelming rate of readiness among teachers to implement 21st century learning pedagogies such as the PAK21, mainly because there's a lack of clarity in translating policies into classroom practice. And at the classroom level, there's also a lot of constraint in terms of resources and also time. So as you can see that we can see a gap between the practices presumed by the policymakers, because there's a lot of aspirations going on at the policy level, but there's a gap between practices presumed by the policymakers and the reality of practices at the classroom level. So we have to look at the stakeholder requirements for 21st century science education to understand the missing link or to identify the mismatch in the needs of the respective parties. So to understand this problem, we have conducted a systematic review using qualitative content analysis, QCA, on 68 published articles and official reports. We have used a validated checklist for QCA by adapted from ELO 2014 to ensure high rate of rigor, reliability, and trustworthiness in our analysis. So we are looking to answer two questions of, first of all, what are the requirements of education stakeholders in Malaysia in implementing a 21st century science education? Secondly, what are the ways to effectively implement a 21st century science education in Malaysian schools? Okay, if you can see this distribution diagram, there are four main stakeholders in realizing 21st century school science education in Malaysia. Starting at the policy level, there are a few requirements that we have listed here based on our qualitative content analysis. Science literacies, scientific knowledge and skills, scientific attitudes and noble values, HOTS skills, problem-based and project-based learning, formative assessments, and strong feedback loop with schools. As you can see, the first few points, this directly relate to the policy's demands to create more people who are qualified to be science skilled workers and science experts, which is why the focus is on skills and competencies. The policy expects students to be trained with higher order thinking skills and trained in environments with problem-based and project-based learning so that it can mimic a real-life working environment. It can prepare them to be science-skilled workers. Now, if we move on to the second tier, school management, the school management level stakeholder requirements steer more towards to administrative and professional development based requirements. For example, schools require 21st century learning facilities. Secondly, schools require formative assessment standards and evaluation and review of student performance. These two are very important to be noted because right now there is no standard protocol or there's no standard for schools to evaluate or for policy level to evaluate 21st century learning practices practiced at school. And thirdly, you can see continuous training for teachers is very important for professional development as well. Okay, now moving on to the third tier, which is teacher as a stakeholder. We can see requirement in terms of teaching support tools, learning resources, standardized instruments, clarity in the implementation of policies, active role in policy making, and also professional and teaching skills development. This shows that, despite the bloated class size or constraint in terms of resources and time, teachers are still looking for ways to get more support for their teaching practices in terms of tools, resources, standardized instruments, and more professional development opportunities. And finally, at the student level of requirement, students require more activities and more content to show them the relevancy of science content to real life. Secondly, you can see that bilingual learning is also an important point here. This comes as a shock because currently our policy is practicing the DLP, dual language program. Moving on, students require fun learning environment, focus on active in-class activities rather than getting involved in homework. They also require adequate demonstration of experiments and projects. And finally, they require motivation to pursue science and technology. So you can read up on more. You can read up more on our critical discussion in our paper. But to summarize our discussion, the most important thing is that communication and collaboration is found to be vital at all levels. Currently, even though policies reflect 21st century school science education aspirations and goals, at the school level, the stakeholders such as administration, teachers, and even students seem to have a lot of uncertainty and qualms in terms of the implementation, the assessment, and also resources available. To get a better view of the real classroom level practices of teaching and learning, teachers should be given a better channel to voice their needs in implementing this kind of policies for science education. Efforts must be taken by teachers and also schools to obtain feedback from students on their preferred pedagogies, on their current learning styles, and so on. Hence, the feedback channel is the key here. It should receive inputs from all three stakeholders, not only from administration or not only from teachers. It should also include students, teachers, and administration to make better informed policies for science education. And an interesting point that we have found is that, like I mentioned before, currently the policy that we have is the dual language program for science education. However, in which where schools have to choose either the Malay instruction or the English instruction for science teaching and learning. However, students have been reported to prefer to learn science in bilingual settings. That works much better for them. So conclusion recommendation, as I mentioned before, communication and collaboration between all these four stakeholders, policymakers, school administration, teachers, and students must be improved on the basis of feedback and reflection. Feedback must be given from the school level to the policymaker, and reflection must be conducted there. And feedback from the policy level must also be passed back to the school level so that they can conduct reflection at the school level as well. So to conclude our paper, we urge for more research based on these four recommendations. First of all, research should be conducted to obtain feedback from school administration and teachers on the practicality of current science education policies in classroom. Secondly, research should be conducted to study the effects of increasing involvement in teachers in policy-making processes. Thirdly, research should be conducted to explore teacher readiness in implementing 21st century school science education. And finally, an extensive and holistic needs analysis should be conducted on Malaysian school students to inform teachers, school management, and also policymakers regarding the current lags, needs, and wants of the new generation for the science subject, teaching and learning. So that is all from me. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, are you done, Vinisha?
Yeah, I'm done. Please, I can't seem to.
You can move to the next slide anyway.
Yeah,
this is your last slide,
my...
actually. Yes.
Yes.
This is your last slide. But don't close yet. Don't close yet. We may.
Okay,
I like
okay,
to
all right.
open the Q&A to the others actually.
Yes, yes.
So,
Thank you, Doctor.
okay. Any one of you on the floor, would you like to give your feedback and comments on this presentation? Dr. Zuliza, do you have one? No? Dr. Nurhani Dayati?
Can I ask?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes,
can. Please
Doctor.
proceed.
Yes.
Okay. One question is, what is the most significant problem with the education issue in your country related to this issue?
Okay, I would say the most significant problem currently is the lack of clarity among teachers to
Sorry.
implement policy level expectations in classroom, real classroom level practices. Mainly because based on our systematic review, we have found that although teachers have a general view of what is expected, the policy level expects certain level of expectations and outcomes which are not realized and understood clearly by the teachers. So there is a mismatch in what is expected at the policy level and what is being conducted by teachers at the classroom level. So we understand that there might be a breakdown or issue in the communication between the policy level and what is reaching the teachers. Yeah, so we believe that if this can be addressed, there will be much better communication between the policy level expectation and what the teachers can deliver to the students, so that the students can be prepared more, they can be developed more as what is expected at the policy level. Yeah,
I agree. Yes, thank you very much. Because this is the kind of the visualization very important because of this is the circulation issue. If the teacher say complain to the student say complain to the teacher, so the circulating. Okay, that's why you need to organize the fine structure to keep such the clarification, right?
yes, very true. Totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you, Prof. Hiroaki. Any other feedback from the rest of you?
Okay, that's enough from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I noticed there is one interesting finding from your paper is that students prefer bilingual approach for science subject. Yeah.
Yes, Doctor. Yep.
So understandably, the medium of instruction and also the reference book and so on, the textbook for science subject are all in Malay, right? In the local language.
Currently, we have the dual language program where schools can choose the instruction to be in either Malay or in English.
So the choice is at the school level.
Yes, Doctor. It's at the school level.
And the exam is in Malay or in bilingual? Hello?
It is only in one language, Doctor. Yeah. Yes.
So the exam, the exam is in the local language, right?
Yeah, because let's say at the lower secondary level, they have no summative exam. There's no PT3 anymore and there's no PMR. So it's all classroom based. So they are tested in whatever language that they learn in respective to the school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the main exam is the SPM, right?
Yeah, SPM. Yep.
And the
SPM is in Malay. It's in Malay.
It's conducted in Malay.
Yes.
Okay. Probably this is one of the issue basically. Maybe bilingual is most preferred by the students. So be it. I mean, let's go for bilingual. This is only my feedback basically to this research. Maybe people in the policy makers, the teachers may have different idea, the school administrator, and so on. But I think if we have to maintain a certain degree of consistency. The medium of instruction, if we agree, should be bilingual, it should be bilingual. The textbook, we must agree that it should be bilingual as well. So that when when the student enter the exam room, the questions, the exam papers are also written bilingually. Okay, so it is consistent all the way, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
From the textbook, from the exercise in the classroom, from the medium of instruction, and then from the exercises that they have, the assignment, and then the quizzes and so on, and finally the big exam. Yeah. But I hope when you, I believe you'll be conducting a deeper research, because you're finding actually opening up quite a number of potential researchers. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually interesting. Yeah. And I think you also have quite firm in terms of the respondents or the data that you're going to get from, you know. So that is good. So I hope you can dig deeper and find more information, feedback from the respondent with respect to the issues that we currently see at the moment. Yeah.
Yes, Doctor, definitely.
I hope that can be done earlier than better as far as your research is concerned. Okay. Thank you very much, Vinasha.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
I have no further question. Thank you very much for
Okay.
interesting finding. So next, I would like to move forward to call upon yes, Dr. Zuliza. Are you ready?
I just I'm just about to share my screen here.
Okay, no problem.
I just have to,
Vinosha, please unshare your screen first.
share.
Then Dr. Zuliza can share.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Ini yang slideshow mana ni?
Slideshow dekat bawah, Doktor.
Sorry.
Okay, you belah bawah tu, sebelah kiri, sebelah kanan, bottom right hand, bawah lagi.
Kejap.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Yeah.
I have unshared my screen. It's all okay, right?
Yeah, I think it's fine already now.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you. Okay. Selamat petang ya, yang saya hormati Dr. Syafiee selaku pengerusi ya.
Okay, Dr. Zuliza, can I stop you just a moment? For the benefit of all the participants,
Yes.
Dr. Zuliza will be presenting in our local language. Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Hiroaki may have, and Mr. Pancho Dashkino may have problem with understanding the presentation. But I only hope that Dr. Zuliza, if you can have a mix of English also in your presentation for the benefit of these participants. Is that okay with you? A little bit here and there?
A little bit maybe okay. Because I'm not prepared in English.
Okay.
Tajuk saya ialah berkenaan prosedur operasi standard SOP tangkapan dan tahanan individu autism. It is about SOP of arrest and detention of individu with autism. Okay. Ya, objektif kajian ialah menganalisis SOP tangkapan dan tahanan autism di Malaysia dan beberapa negara dari aspek aplikasi atau pemakaian SOP, rujukan statut, kaedah tangkapan, kaedah tahanan dan bantuan perantara. Latar belakang kajian. Latar belakang kajian ini berkisar tentang perilaku tersendiri individu autism yang menyebabkan mereka tanpa sedar melanggar undang-undang. Justru bagi menangani kes mereka, ia perlu dilaksanakan mengikut peruntukan undang-undang bersesuaian dengan autism atau OKU mental, di mana fokus kajian ini adalah SOP tangkapan dan tahanan autism. Siapakah itu autism? Ya, mereka ialah individu yang mengalami kecelaruan perkembangan neuro di dalam sistem saraf otak, ya, yang memberi implikasi kepada kemahiran hubungan sosial, defisit komunikasi dan tingkah laku berulangan. Situasi ini menjadikan mereka yang didiagnos sebagai pengidap autism berisiko terlibat dengan pelanggaran undang-undang tanpa disedari. Jadi autism ini ada kes-kes lalu ya yang menunjukkan autism ni terlibat ya dengan kes mencuri, mencederakan orang lain, melepaskan tembakan secara rambang, kesalahan cyber serta kesalahan jenayah seksual. Kajian lalu mengesahkan bahawa hal ini berlaku ya berkait dengan sifat semula jadinya yang defisit kemahiran sosial dan komunikasi. Jadi oleh itu ya dirasakan perlu ya diwujudkan satu SOP khusus kerana individu autism ini diklasifikasikan sebagai individu kurang upaya, hak kesamarataan dan menolak diskriminasi ke atas orang kurang upaya ini mendapat perhatian secara holistik di seluruh dunia. Oleh itu perlu diwujudkan SOP tangkapan dan tahanan autism yang disyaki melanggar undang-undang. Because autism is considered as or included in the definition of OKU or disabilities person, so we think it should be proper if we have particular standard operation procedure of arrest and detention for those individual with autism that breach any particular laws, especially law related to criminal. For instance, there are also autism who commit crimes such as theft and others. Okay, so oleh itu kita lihat ada SOP yang wujud di negara-negara so therefore we can find that there are several SOP of arrest and detention for autism and also applicable to any person with disabilities and those countries that has that particular SOP is like Malaysia, New Mexico, Hong Kong, England, Illinois and others those countries has okay. I think it Dr. Shafi'i, I think it will explain my presentation in English.
Boleh
A little
juga.
bit. Boleh dipahami ya?
Boleh, tak ada masalah.
Boleh kan? Kalau saya dah prepare senang. Okey. Bagaimana SOP autism itu wujud di Malaysia ya? Jadi di Malaysia cetusan kepada pembinaan SOP autism bermula berikutan kes Ahmad Zikri pada tahun 2018 iaitu seorang autism yang telah ditangkap dan ditahan oleh anggota polis mengikut SOP biasa. Jadi apabila beliau didakwa mencabut kehormatan seorang wanita di tempat awam. Jadi hasil desakan masyarakat awam, NGO dan para netizen akhirnya sebuah SOP autism yang dinamakan Autism Garis Panduan Polis Diraja Malaysia telah berjaya dilancarkannya dan dikuatkuasakan pada tahun 2019. Jadi reka bentuk kajian adalah analisis dokumen dari kajian lalu dan dokumen rasmi kerajaan berkaitan SOP autism yang wujud di dalam dan luar negara seperti berikut. Okey, hasil kajian saya pertama berkenaan dengan aplikasi atau pemakaian SOP kalau di Malaysia kita tengok SOP-nya untuk golongan autism dan OKU sahaja. Dan di luar negara kita lihat ada negara yang mengkhususkan autism itu SOP tersebut untuk golongan autism dan ada negara yang mengkhususkan SOP tersebut untuk golongan autism dan orang kurang upaya yang lain. So the applicable of the SOP of arrest and detention of autism in Malaysia, it is applicable to individual with autism and others person with disabilities, mental disabilities. While in other countries we can see that some of those countries apply that particular SOP to autism only, and others apply it to autism as well as person with mental disability as well. Okey, hasil kajian kedua berkenaan dengan rujukan statute kalau kita tengok Malaysia banyaklah rujukan yang dibuat dan negara lain itu adalah antara rujukan statute yang dirujuk yang dinyatakan secara jelas dalam SOP tersebut. Walaupun kadang dalam pembinaan tu semestinya mereka tu ada merujuk pada benda-benda arahan kerja ataupun undang-undang yang lain Okey, hasil kajian ketiga berkenaan dengan kaedah tangkapan related to the arrest di Malaysia SOP of arrest is quite detailed compared to other countries. What I mean by detail is that it had been stated in detail, but in other countries, from my research, we discover that it has not been stated in detail, but in practice, they must follow certain rules and regulation that mix with the rights of person with mental disabilities. Enter. Berkenaan dengan kaedah tahanan iaitu berkaitan dengan di Malaysia tidak digari, menggunakan penggunaan bahasa yang mudah, penggunaan kad topik, soalan yang spesifik, bantuan bahan visual dan tidak menggunakan tag atau leading question. And di negara lain mempunyai cara yang agak serupa ataupun lebih kurang berbeza sikit. Okey, bantuan perantara di mana dalam in the process of arrest and detention kalau di Malaysia they use the help of rakan autism and kalau in other countries they didn't use any help from the rakan autism. Okey, kesimpulannya terdapat kecenderungan perilaku autism untuk terlibat dengan kesalahan pelanggaran undang-undang menyebabkan keperluan diwujudkan prosedur perundangan khusus antaranya melalui SOP tangkapan dan tahanan autism. Seperti di negara-negara yang saya dah bincangkan tadi mereka mempunyai SOP. Analisis kajian terhadap SOP tersebut mendapati umumnya terdapat beberapa aspek persamaan antara SOP tersebut, namun terdapat juga aspek perbezaan yang relevan seperti rujukan statut antara negara-negara serta kejelasan tafsiran prosedur pelaksanaan SOP negara-negara tersebut. With this, I end my presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Zuliza. Interesting research also. Very interesting actually.
Okay, thank you.
Very interesting. Maybe I can open up to the floor, especially Prof. Hiroaki from Japan.
Yeah.
Can you share the experience in Japan? Do you have special act or standard operating procedure with respect to person with disabilities, especially autistic or Down syndrome, things like that?
Thank you so much. I would like to confirm because I also know the autistic children and the procedure.
Yeah.
Would you explain the standard operation procedure SOP program in Malaysia? Then you are discussing the difference of the Malaysian protocol SOP and the other Western country. What is the most serious things I want to know? Did you catch my point?
I'm not very clear with the question.
Can you repeat, please?
Okay, I understand you're explaining standard operating procedure SOP.
Yeah.
And then you discuss about the comparison of the SOP in Malaysia and the SOP in other Western country, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is the serious difference the SOP procedure in Malaysia and other country?
Okay.
Dia bertanya perbezaan. I think Dr. Zuliza ada mention perbezaan. Macam kita lebih komprehensif sebagainya lah. Macam tu lah.
Yeah.
Maybe you can explain.
Okay. Thank you for the question. I had already discussed it in my presentation just now regarding the differences. Yeah. First is about the application of that particular SOP, whereby in Malaysia we can see the SOP is not particularly applied to autistic only, but it also applicable to other person with mental disability. And in other countries, some of them applied that particular SOP to person with autistic only, and some apply it to person with autistic and with other mental disabilities as well. And of course, when they try to build up this particular SOP, the difference is that each particular countries will refer to the statute in their own countries.
Okay. I would like to confirm one more point because it's still wondering for me because there is some problem depending on the cases. Because it is coming from your statement is coming from the problem in facility or therapist or program design to fit culture or environment. What is the point? Your topic.
Apa dia? The problem.
Did you catch?
What?
Pertanyaan dia mungkin berkaitan dengan begini, kalau SOP kita ni mungkin lebih baik sikit daripada tempat lain, tapi mungkin tak cukup lagi. Ada halangan-halangan mungkin dari segi struktur ataupun daripada daripada siapa tadi dia kata, daripada medical practitioner ke apa tadi dia mention macam itulah.
Some problem happening from facility design, building or the room. Second thing, the therapist education or training.
The therapist, yes.
Third one is the program design itself to fit your the country's culture.
Problem the design, for example, the design of the building for people with disabilities. For instance, you must have a ramp, okay, for wheelchair, you know, stuff like that for new building and so on. So this probably will this be contributing to the difficulties basically with respect to the standard operating procedure. But tapi you must explain to Prof, SOPU ni berkaitan dengan penangkapan with respect to criminal or the crime, that's when nothing to do with the apa dipanggil social punya apa ni. Nah.
Macam mana? Okay.
I'm trying to help.
This particular SOP is designed for autism and any person with mental disabilities, not with the physical disabilities.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
So then the difficulty coming some multidisciplinary aspect, right? Okay, thank you very much.
For your question and response. Maybe next time I have to prepare my slide. So that
okay. Any other question from the rest? Okay, we are not being too formal here. We try to be as informal as possible. I like to get the discussion free flowing and then going back and forth. If you have any question, please, maybe Dr. Zulkifli can give a better explanation on that. Anyone?
Can I just ask one small question, Doctor?
Yeah.
Hi, Dr. Zuliza. Tadi Doktor ada explain tentang kaedah tangkapan, di mana point Doktor ada tentang tiada teknik atau teori khusus. Point keempat.
Tiada teknik atau teori khusus. Okay.
So adakah itu satu kelemahan Doktor ataupun can we look at it as an advantage?
Macam ni ya. Okay, thank you for the question ya. Untuk teknik atau teori khusus ni, dia tidak meletakkan dalam SOP itu supaya tidak terikat, tapi dari segi pelaksanaan ini mereka menggunakan pakar-pakar ya yang deal with those person with mental disabilities ya, di mana di situ di Malaysia kita merujuk kepada rakan autism. So apabila ada kes berlaku, memang dia orang dah ada kerjasama dengan rakan autism, PDRM dan rakan autism, dia akan call and dalam tempoh masa 15 minit, not more than that ya, rakan autism akan tampil memberikan bantuan. Begitu juga dalam hal-hal interrogation dan sebagainya. So dia tak nak terikat sangat, and kita pun fahamlah benda SOP ini dirancangkan pada tahun 2019 and kita jadi belum ada lagi lah dia punya kajian ya tentang keberkesanannya ya, and itu dia lah respon dari saya.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Thank you for your question.
Will there be a plan basically to improve the SOP to cover all kind of disabilities? Ada?
Buat masa ni belum lagi, Doktor. Cumanya sebenarnya saya punya kajian ialah pembinaan SOP tangkapan dan tahanan ya, autism untuk penguatkuasa agama.
Yes.
This one yang saya discuss ini ialah SOP yang sudah wujud ya di Malaysia, iaitu untuk penggunaan pihak PDRM iaitu polis. Jadi disebabkan bidang kuasa perundangan antara undang-undang sivil dan undang-undang Islam itu berbeza, jadi di sini kita memerlukan satu SOP khusus pula ya untuk individu autism Muslim ya yang melanggar ya undang-undang jenayah Islam. That particular SOP yang saya nak cadangkan untuk bangunkan itu adalah untuk kegunaan penguatkuasa agama. Okey.
Baik. Okey.
Jadi memang dalam SOP untuk penguatkuasa agama tu kita review yang SOP polis tu adalah perkara-perkara yang kita tambah. Kita tak kata yang SOP polis tu ada kekurangan, tapi kita sesuaikan dengan bidang kuasa syariah pula.
Okay. Alright. For the benefit of the rest, what Dr. Zuliza is trying to explain is the SOP that she is working on basically is more specific towards the Islamic law. Okay. Not for civil, but it's more specific to the Islamic. I'm not sure whether Dr. Zuliza or the team has any plan to further expand the SOP to cover for civil cases and so on. Do you have plan to do that as well?
No. Because for the civil cases, it is sufficient if we just refer to this particular SOP. Okay. Autism for the police.
Okay, all right. I have one point from your research just now. You mentioned Illinois, and then you mentioned Wisconsin and also Virginia.
Yeah.
So actually, Illinois is also a state in the US. So you kata Illinois, Wisconsin, Virginia sama dia punya level as far as their
okay.
Dia sama, dia actually the state, one of the state.
Yeah. Typing error.
Kena betulkan sikit lah.
So sorry about that.
It's not the country by itself.
Yeah.
Okay, lagi satu saya nak tanya about what is the Miranda warning? I think in the Wisconsin or in Virginia just now.
Okay. Miranda warning. Saya kena baca sini. Sekejap ya. Macam mana? I mentioned it in my paper ya. Miranda warning ialah sejenis ya pemberitahuan yang lazimnya diberikan oleh polis kepada suspek jenayah dalam tahanan polis atau dalam soal siasat jagaan yang menasihati mereka tentang hak mereka untuk berdiam diri, iaitu hak mereka untuk menolak menjawab soalan atau memberikan maklumat kepada penguatkuasa undang-undang atau pegawai lain.
I see. Okay, that is called Miranda warning.
Yeah.
So that is applicable in the US?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I watch TV also. Some movies say you have the right to remain silent, or you know, like that. So that is Miranda warning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question, please? No. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Zuliza.
Welcome everyone.
For your research. It is an interesting research. If
Thank
probably
you.
in the future, kalau ada research to expand this further to other areas, I think I personally would like to hear more about the finding lah actually kan. And maybe if you can have a team nanti bila ada you punya RA, ada you punya assistant buat research, student you ke dan sebagainya kan. Maybe you can do the research in English probably kan. There's another area that you can look at lah. Okay. So thank you very much for your time and your presentation. And next, I would like to call upon yes, Professor Hiroaki. Are you ready?
Okay, my presentation will be done the first author, Artavi. Artavi, are you ready? Okay, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Professor.
Stop share.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Zuliza, unshare, and then Ahmad Artawi can share your
Okay, thank you.
your screen.
Can you hear me, Doctor?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to my presentation. The presentation number 021014. Okay. The title is A Linear Time Algorithm to Form a Core Convex Shape Form an Arbitrary Non-Convex for Automated Fulfillment in Robotic Manipulation Tasks. This is Ahmad Tawil, and this research results first obtained under the collaboration with Kyushu Institute of Technology. Let me first start with the research background. Fulfillment tasks in robot. Automated fulfillment by robots is expected to realize in logistics and agriculture automations, backing into a non-convex area or non-convex backing are theoretically difficult.
Oh, we lost you.
In the task to find the maximum space for the fulfillment in robotic manipulation tasks. Requirements. The first requirement is to fulfillment task is to find the maximum diameter of the internal circle. As you can see here, sometimes we have to fulfillment on a convex shape or sometimes in non-convex shape, as you can see. And the first step is to find the maximum area inside this shape. The second requirement is to identify whether the shape is convex or not. As we know in computational geometry, finding if a shape is convex or not is easy to treat, and also finding a point inside this shape is also easy. So we have to do two steps. The first step is to find if the shape is convex. If it's not, reconstruct the shape. Then the second point is to find if the point inside or outside this shape. Okay. Tasks to solve this study. Item backing problem can be formulated as a repetitive procedure to find the empty space for replacement. For example, these items should be placed inside this area. The second step is, since the space will be normally a non-convex area, then non-convex like this shape, then actual task will be given as finding the maximum region to match the target item shape in the given non-convex region. So the machine should find if this object is aligned inside the non-convex shape or it is out of the shape. A simplest task for the verification. For verification, the performance of the proposed method was verified in the task to find a maximum circle inside the non-convex shape. So the task here is to this detection the center of the position, or the center of the position, yes, and its diameter. The mathematics behind our method. First, identifying of whether convex or not. Non-convex shape like this one, or convex shape like this one. So theoretically, to find if a shape is convex or not, we have to find two arbitrary points and then draw a line between those 2 points. After that, if this line is outside the shape, then it is non-convex shape. But this will take a time to find an arbitrary point and testing all the points of the shape. But by using only the circulation of the angles of the shape, it will minimize the cost. Okay. The mathematical definition for finding if it is convex or this shape is convex or not. Let's have a set of points from point 1 to point 7 arranged in counterclockwise 1, 2, 3, 4 like this, and also has a reference and axis in space. By finding the angle of each of the points, then if we have a linear increment of the angle, let's say angle 2, theta 2, bit larger than theta 1, theta 3 larger until the end, then in this case we have a convex shape. But if we start from the beginning, theta 1, theta 2 big larger, theta 3 larger until theta 4, when we found that theta 4 is smaller than theta 3, in this case, this point is not proper to form a convex shape. Okay, the second step is to detect the node whether they are inside or outside. So in this case, we have to find the angle theta between 0.3 and 0.4. In this case, if the angle is positive in the sense of the rotation of the triangle, let's say here anti-clockwise, then this point is inside the shape. But if this point makes a angle negative in the sense of the rotation of the triangle, then in this case the point is outside the shape. Okay, for computer experiment, this procedure can be done in circulation manner. Let's say starting from the first round, and each round we mark or label the node with a let's say a number inside the bracket. As you can see here, number one for the first round. Okay, by labeling each one of the node which is suspended to be non-convex in the first round, and then remove these nodes, and do that for the second round and third round until we have or obtain this shape in green color, as you can see, which is the maximum shape of the convex formed by these nodes. The second step is trying again or rounding again to add some more points to find the biggest convex. shape. The third step is to estimate the maximum internal circle inside the convex, the green one. Then finding the center of this circle and the diameter of this circle. Okay, for comparison, we used a simple algorithm. This algorithm is very simple. The simplest algorithm is to find a convex with the maximum size by all possible combinations of nodes. Okay, let's see the first pattern. In this case, we have, although we have a convex shape, but there is a node inside the shape, so it's not acceptable. The second type, this is not convex, while the third one gives the same results as our proposed method. As we can see, all nodes outside and the shape is convex. But in this case, we have a possible computation of order 2 square n minus 2. The results and comparison. As you can see, this is our proposed method, and this is the simplest algorithm. So these results are average of 50 trials. So it's clear that our method can obtain the solution in O(n) order, while the simplest method has an exponential number of order. To conclude, the proposed method was provided as a recursive procedure to decompose non-convex bars until it forms a remaining bar to be convex shape. And then it shifts to the reconstruction of a developing convex shape by adding decomposed bars in the first process. Second, the decomposition and reconstruction will be done in the circulation of removal and attachment of parts, which takes computational costs as n order. In the comparison with the simplest method, the reduction of the computational cost of the proposed method was clearly demonstrated. This is acknowledgement. The authors would like to thank members of Yaskawa Electronic Corporation who have interacted with Kyushu Institute of Technology at Yaskawa Technology Center and the company for supports the implementation into real robot systems and suggestions on design principle and applications. This work was supported in part by GSPS, the New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, and project on regional revitalization through advanced robotics, Kyushu Institute of Technology, Kyushu, Japan. Thank you very much for your listening.
Thank you, Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now I open up to the floor. Any question or any comment? Anyone?
Thank you for the presentation, but I'm sorry that's not my area, but it was a good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Ahmad Al-Masri, do you have any question or anything to add?
Thank you so much. Actually, I'm a co-author, so I'm very interested with this project. And thank you for Ahmad Al-Tawil for his contribution.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't have any question for your research.
Thank you very much.
Anything else? Anything else to add, Prof. Hiroaki? Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's too much mathematics, right? Thank you for the kind attention.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ahmad Al-Tawil, for a fine presentation. Unfortunately, I think many of us are coming from a different background. Probably we are not able to comment any further or to add any feedback.
Okay.
However, it is my belief is that you have a solution for the the automated fulfillment in the robotic manipulation task anyway. So this is a good research actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So next, I like to move forward to call Mr. Pancho Nikolaev Dashkinov. Are you ready?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can. So before you start, just a curiosity of on my part. Which country are you from actually?
I'm coming from Bulgaria.
Ah, okay, great. Okay.
My name is Pancho Dachkinov. I am doctoral student in Kyushu Institute of Technology coming from Bulgaria. And today I will be presenting the following topic about the effect of the infill density and pattern of the flexible 3D printed samples. The content is as follows. I will introduce the main objective of the research and the background. Then I'll proceed to the methods, results, and conclusion. So, to determine the stiffness of 3D printed parts is a hard engineering task due to the variation of the inner geometry, and it is a parameter that is usually obtained experimentally, and there is a lack of systematic analytical approach. However, this parameter is very important for optimizing the stiff to mass ratio of the parts and control the stiffness and therefore the flexibility of the parts when necessary. So 3D printing is an additive process. It adds layers on the top of each other, and unlike the traditional technologies, does not remove material but adds, and therefore the geometry can be controlled from inside. This is a unique property of the process, and it dates, although we consider it as a new technology, it dates from the early 80s with the founding of selective laser sintering. Here are stated the three major technology processes: selective laser sintering, stereolithography, and fused deposition modeling. These are the most commonly used technologies nowadays for 3D printing. The global effects of 3D printing are that it can limit the restrictions on the supply chain by bringing the parts and the orders closer to the customer. It allows a deeper level of customization, and it can provide very many design. It has huge design capabilities, and a lot of the parts that are existing nowadays can be further optimized and reinvented, and the new parts can be, new types of parts can be further created in the near future when the 3D printed is further adopted. So advantages in comparison to the conventional technologies, we can control the structure from inside, as I already mentioned, the stiffness, and by controlling the infill geometry and infill density. There are cost-efficient benefits related with not with the tools that are used for manufacturing the parts, but with the complexity, not that much with the complexity of the part, but with the costs of the materials and the 3D printing duration. And the process is eco-friendly. We are not removing material, we are adding material, so the waste is quite minimal. and also it can be, to some certain extent, it can be recycled. Here are illustrated some of the advantages and capabilities of the technology. We can create directly assembled models. These are rotational joints that have been assembled. We can also control the structure from inside in different regions, and we can use topology optimization tools to optimize the models by preserving the outer geometry. In addition, the technology is quite suitable for creating compliant mechanisms that rely on deformation, such as this one, to execute the motion. The process is getting more and more acceptation in different industries outside of prototyping and manufacturing as previously, such as jewelry, art and fashion, aerospace engineering, automotive industry, and more. Here are several papers related with our research. In all these studies, the authors have compared the properties of different materials, popular materials such as PLA and ABS, but they have done so by conducting experiments. These are empirical data, which of course is quite specific, but there is no systematic approach that can be generalized and used in the future. The method that we used, we have analyzed 21 samples, 3 different infill geometries: rectangular, triangular, rectangular, and hexagonal, and 7 different infill densities from 10 to 100% with increment of 15. And in order to analyze them, we have used the cellular solid approach. Every cell of the model is represented as a cellular model. I will explain later what does that mean. And we have different number of sides of the regular polygons, triangulars, squares, and hexagons, regular hexagons. And here are the single cells, their main parameters, and below are the loading conditions. So here we have the thickness of the wall of each cell, which is a parameter related to the diameter of the nozzle. We have the length of each wall of the cell, which is a parameter related to infill density. The higher the density is, the smaller the L will be, because we have to fit more cells in the same volume. And we have the angle theta, different for different geometries. Here are the loading conditions. And in our particular example, we have investigated triangular grid and trihexagonal structures. The trihexagonal is approximated simplified as a hexagonal, but in the software Ultimaker Cura, there is no representation of the hexagonal. That's why we have chosen this one as the closest substitution. And we have created these beams that have 150 millimeters length and cross-sectional area 15 by 15 millimeters. They have been made out of Ninja Flex TPU, one of the most popular flexible materials. And here important parameters that has been used in the calculations is the tensile strength of 12 megapascals, as you can see. So the infill density can be approximated to the relative densities of the model and is calculated by the following equation. We first need to calculate the volume of the parts with different densities, as I mentioned, with 10%, 25%, 40%, and so on to 100%. And we calculate the relative densities for all of them. And they are contained in this T over L ratio, which is a fraction volume of the solid, as mentioned here. And first, for all 3 structures, we find the modulus of elasticity for all 7 geometry, for all 7 densities. Here ES is the modulus of elasticity of the material, 12 megapascal in our case. And T over L, as mentioned here, is the volume fraction of the solid. It is a parameter that depends on the infill density. After that, we similarly find the values for the rectangular cells. And unlike the triangular cells, which only are loaded axially, they are simplified as trusses. Rectangular and hexagonal cells will bend. And here T over L is on third power, this parameter. After that, we calculate the relative density for hexagonal cells. For regular hexagons, we use the equation number 5. And we have to go through some limitations, to consider some limitations based on the 3D printing technology, such as number of the layers, thickness of the layers, thickness of the walls, and thickness of the top and bottom layers, and also diameter of the nozzle. In order to calculate the volumes properly, we have to consider these parameters. Then we can proceed and find the stiffness of the models from the following equation, and it is a function of the elasticity and the strain. We already have obtained the elasticity. Now we have to consider the strain by the following calculations. The moment of inertia I, it applies for it's a bending moment that applies for all, it is constant for all samples because the wall bends it the same way. And after that, we calculate the deflection. Here L is a parameter that decreases with the increase of the infill density. And we calculate the strain. Later we will see the relationship of the infill density and the strain for all three geometries. First, we have printed 7 of these densities for the grid structure. They have exactly the same outer geometry, but with different inner structure, different density. And as you can see, the 3D printing time increases linearly up to 90% infill density, and then increases significantly from 90 to 100%, more than twice. The same is true for the mass and the density of the model. So it can be concluded that if we want to, if the stiffness is not the most important for our prototype, we can print with densities around 90% or less in order to save time and material and make the models lighter. Later, from the calculations above, we have calculated the elasticity, the strain, and the stiffness. And as expected, with the increase of the infill density, the stiffness, the elasticity increases, and it's the highest for the hexagonal cells and the lowest for the triangular structures. Next, the strain. So with the increase of the density, the strain decreases because the deflection is smaller, the part is stiffer. Similarly, we observe similar relationship with the stiffness. With the increase, the stiffness gets higher, and the higher stiffness is observed for hexagonal structure with 100%. And after that, a nonlinear analysis in COMSOL multiphysics has been conducted for a part with 100% infill made from TPU material with loading from 0.5 Newton to 5 Newton. And it is interesting to mention that for the 5 Newton mark, the results are quite similar to the results for the deflection for the rectangular structure for 100%, as mentioned below. And in the near future, we should verify the analytical relationships by conducting experiments. For now, we have only printed these models with the grid structure. We have to print the triangular and hexagonal as well and conduct the experiment. Here are the 3D printing parameters. They should all be printed with the same parameters so that they keep consistent properties, and we only vary the in-view density. We have developed a testing setup, experimental setup, but the experiment is yet to come. Here is a short demonstration of the first model of the setup. It consists of linear motor that applies pressure and bends the beam. Then we measure the current and convert it to force displacement relationship. Interesting application is for orthotic devices when we need to control the stiffness and the flexibility of the models. We can make the same models with higher stiffness, and later throughout the healing process we can replace them with models with higher flexibility so that we improve the range of motion and decrease the resistance. And also, as a conclusion, analytically we have calculated the stress, strain, elasticity of 7 in-field densities of 3 different in-field geometries, and the results have been compared with a nonlinear Fay analysis that represents a 100% in-view density of a sample made from a TPU material. And this could be useful too in the designing stage to optimize the stress to the stiffness to mass ratio to preserve the same stiffness but decrease the mass of the parts. And it is very important to know that we have to confirm the results by conducting experiments and compare the analytical results with empirical data. This is the acknowledgement for the support of this project, and thank you very much for your attention. I would like to welcome your questions and comments.
Thank you, Pancho. Thank you, Pancho. Now I open up to the floor. Any question or any feedback? Anything to ask if you are not clear? In general, Pancho, and probably also Prof. Hiroaki, the 3D printing is one of the invention together with like big data analysis and then robotic and so on, right? So how much actually the 3D printing has come into so-called production use?
Right, that's a very good question. So there are several technologies, with 3 of them being the most popular. So 3D printing has been applied in all those industries, and selective laser sintering allows for making parts out of metal. It fuses metal powder in order to create the parts. So it is very useful for aerospace industry, where the mass is incredibly important and the parts are well optimized, so they have strength to mass, very well optimized strength to mass ratio, because everything we send in space, it has to be very light.
Yeah.
Then for customization purposes, such as orthoses and teeth replacement implants and jewelry models, there are also working not only prototypes but the technology has been accepted in production, mainly stereolithography. And it is really valuable tool for prototyping still. So it has already been applied in few industries, and it's increasing with the improvement of the machines, and the prices going down. Also, materials are getting better.
Yeah.
There is a wider variety of materials.
Yeah. What is the biggest challenge basically for 3D printing to come into real mass acceptance or mass production? Is cost is really the challenge?
No, I believe that the problem is its productivity. It is highly customizable. We can make everything, but the productivity is low. So
I mean,
we cannot make
it takes a long time to.
It takes a long time. Yes, we cannot make big series.
Okay.
We can make custom models, which is probably the future, where the things will be more custom than standardized.
I see. But
Yeah.
I believe as far as the processing time or the time taken to produce the product can be made faster. I think with the recent technologies and then new findings.
Yeah, this will depend from the material properties, because there is certain time for the adhesion between the layers.
Of course.
Is required. Yes.
All right.
Very
But
nice
yeah, it's
question.
improving.
Yeah. I would like to add some more additional information. We are designing some support device based on the 3D printing material for helping handicapped children.
Yes.
The cerebral palsy, some children having the damage in the brain. That's why they cannot work move very freely. That's why some specific design to attach the body to helping movement to the disability of the children is very highly important. Originally, such a tool for helping children is very expensive. And then also they are taking time because the expert engineer try to make some specific items of specific children. That's why we are developing such a 3D printing material and then also design principle. Thank you so much for your very suggestive comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Iraki. Thank you, Pancho Toshkino. I have no further question. Anybody else has got any question? We can save the question later, probably at the end of the session if you have. Okay, so I like to move forward to call upon Mr. Ahmad Al-Tawil again. Yeah, for the paper titled Comparative Study of Vector and Raster Spatial Data.
Okay. Can you see my screen, Doctor?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. This presentation number 022016, the title is A Comparative Study of Vector and Raster Spatial Data for Image Segmentation, focusing on the position estimation accuracy of vertices to form polygonal shapes. This is Ahmad Tawil, and also this research results first obtained under the collaboration in Kyushu Institute of Technology. First of all, let me bring you to a research background about image segmentation. Automated image segmentation is highly important in medical fields and robotic manipulations. It's normally treated by image processing schemes. However, there is inevitable limitations in accuracy. For example, as illustrated here in this figure, this is an example for segmentation for an intensity-based segmentation. And this is a grayscale image for abdomen. And this is the analyzation as a histogram, depending on statistical property of the image. Okay, without a proper selection of the threshold, the result will be poor. So as you can see here, there is two minima and two maxima. We're using this minima in the segmentation to obtain this segmentation, which is in line this line here, as a result of this segmenting this part of the image. It's clear that there is here disconnection, so the result, there is limitation in the accuracy. Okay, problem statement. Computational geometry-based methods can be allocated to redeeming drawbacks in image processing schemes. The requirements are: compare effectiveness in vector and raster data to avoid a computational explosion as exponential increase. The second requirement is accuracy of the position estimation in noisy conditions. Utilize your relationship information primitive semantics of dots for understanding of target properties. As you may know, that for spatial data, there is two types: raster data and vector data. Raster data is made up of pixels or points, and vector data consists of lines, polygons, and also dots. For example, if you want to get this specific area by using the raster data, there is no guarantee that you get the desired area. But if you use a vector data, the area is selected perfectly by these lines, which is aligned with the big triangular mesh. Okay. There is no need for proper conversion from raster to vector. If the conversion is possible, appropriate operations and verification is possible. As we know that the accuracy is highly required in surgical robotics, also in other robotic manipulations. A benchmark, very used benchmark test is jigsaw puzzle solving. The main concentration here is to matching two parts or two pieces of the puzzle in order to fill up all the space. And feature detection is very important in this case. The very important features are invariant features, as let's see, and the points of importance here, which is the corner. These points or these features used in all the let's say the transformation used to solve the tangram puzzle, the jigsaw puzzle. A very known algorithm to corner detection is Harris-Stevens algorithm. This algorithm works to find corners in an image, so it is based on image processing. The mathematics behind Harris corner detection, it's very simple. There is a window function. So there are here three patterns: flat region inside the image, edge, and also corner. So by using the window function and making shifts in horizontal and vertical and diagonal directions, if there is no change in the intensity, so it is the first pattern. If there is a change in one direction but not the other, so it is edge pattern. And if there is a change in all directions, so this is an edge. This formula is the result of acceptable approximation using Taylor series. So it contains window function. Simply, we can apply a Gaussian filter to the image to obtain this window function. And this is the difference between the image intensity after doing the shift by 1 pixel and before. By writing this formula as a matrix multiplication, we can get the and calculating the eigenvalues. We have 2 eigenvalues, lambda1 and lambda2. And by using the relationship between lambda1 and lambda2 and also the eigenvector, we can determine or determine whether we have a flat region when lambda1 and lambda2 are small, and when there is a big difference between lambda2 and lambda1, so it is an edge. There is a change in one direction but not the other. And when there is a big, there are big values for lambda1 and lambda2, so it's the case when there is a corner. We have a scalar R, we can represent it as ellipse. Okay, the drawbacks in image processing method. Highest corner detector suitable for rough detections. The advantage, easy to embed into a system because the method is well known. It has a model in MATLAB and also in OpenCV. The mechanism is very clear mathematically. The disadvantage, high sensitivity. Small isolated regions such as noisy dots are recognized as corners. So this is the focus point. To compensate this drawbacks of the highest corner detector, we focus on computational geometry, which is suitable for fine detection. The advantages are, the first one, allowing a fine design for the target properties to detect. The second, easy to extend an optimization module for knowledge-based logical reasoning systems. It has a disadvantage, need a careful design to avoid issues on combinatorial explosion with high exponential. Okay. Sorry. Okay, we want to focus on one of 3 approaches. The first approach is model-free approach. In this case, we have an increment on the computation time and expenses every time because there is a multiplication with n. And the second approach is specialized heuristic by human workload, so it is very expensive and also slow. And this third one, by using geometric computation, we can use the connection between nodes in order to have a low computational cost. So using the semantically connection between points, then after that, we can get the extracted object. For experimental design, we use a triangle shape and adding noise in a dotted manner. The results of Harris corner detector, as we can say, it's clear that when there is a low level of noise, the corresponding detector can find or detect the corners, but with a high level of noise, it fails. Our computational geometry method can detect the shape in a proper way with the connection between the corners. To conclude, in the Harris-Stevens algorithm, the adding noises cause a serious confusion in the system to detect true corners of the manipulation target object. Second, the proposed computational geometry-based method contains geometrical properties in its computation. It can be enhanced to be robust against noisy data. It contributes not only to surgical robots, but also the solver of 2D replacement puzzles, known as tangram puzzle, to be a general scheme for robotics in all fields behaving in dynamic environment. Acknowledgement. The authors would like to thank members of Yasakawa Electric Corporation who have interacted with the Kyushu Institute of Technology at Yasakawa Technology Center in the company for supports in the implementation into real robot system and suggestions on design principle and applications. This work was supported in part by DSPS and NEDO, and also the project on regional revitalization through advanced robotics, Kyushu Institute of Technology, Kyushu, Kitakyushu City, Japan. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Any question? Can you hear me?
Is it okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So,
No.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah. Is there any problem, Professor?
I think there is a problem with the sound. I can't hear Dr. Safi.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Yes,
Okay.
I unmute just now. Actually, I put my voice on mute. Sorry about that. Okay, thank you very much, Ahmad. And
Thank you very much.
before I call the next one, I think I would like to call for a short break, about 10 minutes, so that we can freshen up, and then you can make a cup of coffee, or you can stretch up and so on, and then we come back again. Now is 4:21. Okay, come back at 4:30, please. Yeah, we start again at 4:30. We take a short 10 minutes break.
Yeah, sure, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Now I see you live, Prof. You look better, a lot better.
Thank you very much. Yes. Nice organization.
Okay, next presenter will be Mr. Hassan Halbuni. Mr. Hassan, are you here?
Yes.
Ready with your presentation? Mr. Hassan will be speaking on overview of Islamic ethics and values in project management.
Can you see the slides?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Today, I will be talking about the overview of Islamic ethics and values in project management. The content for this PowerPoint presentation is starting with the introduction, objectives, methodology, literature review, finding and discussion, and finally conclusion of the video. Now, starting with the introduction, Islamic ethics and values are the guideline of Muslims' day-to-day life activities, and they play a role in every aspect of their life. So these values and ethics, they rule the Muslims' life, the way they manage, the way they do their activities. Now, for project management, it is applied to make sure any project is going to be successful. It's a method, it's a tool. We use it on the projects, on anything we want to do, to make sure we get the final result we want. Now, the paper submitted focuses on the Islamic ethics and values in project management and how they are connecting and how the paper provide a guideline on the Islamic ethics and values that can be applied in project management. Now, for the paper objectives, we have two objectives. First one is what are Islamic ethics and value needed in project management. The second one is the effect of these ethics and values on project management implementation and workers. Now, moving to the methodology of the paper. Now, the research method we used in the paper was the table research. We reviewed all data, research, and paper to find and to know how to create an overview of these ethics and values needed in project management. A comprehensive literature review has been done to gather the required data. Now, the data were collected is to create an overview for the Islamic ethics, and finally to find what the most important ethics are that needed to be implemented in projects to produce a successful project, and the effect of this ethics. Now, moving to the literature review of the paper, starting with what is project management. Now, project management, as I said, it's a method. It's a combination of various steps. It's a tool and skill, techniques, and knowledge. A manager must possess to apply it on activities in the project to achieve the desired aim of the project. Now, as the time has advanced, the project has been expanded and more complicated. The old traditional style of thinking of the only most important factors of time, cost, and quality affecting the success of the project is not correct anymore. See, there's more factors affecting the success, and especially the human factors, which is affected by the values and ethics. Now, any action which is unethical, for example, bribe or fraud, can be harmful for the project and will lead to its failure. Now, for Islamic ethics in project management, there has been some effort to establish Islamic work ethics that can be implemented in professional work. Now, any professional work, whether it's, for example, a construction project, an industrial project, any type of project. For this paper, the source of these ethics is the Quran and the Sunnah. But the purpose of connecting Islamic ethics and value into project is to teach ethical philosophy, practical method, knowledge, and skill, and how to implement them in the decision-making process. There are studies that work on finding how people react in different situations and how ethics and value play a role in their decision. Now, what are those Islamic ethics and value needed? We start. A previous study discussed 4 main factors that can affect project management, which are good deeds, righteousness, pity or fear of God, and accountability. Another one suggested that the value of trust, fairness, compassion, shura, and team spirit are values that people in the project management should act upon. Also, the principle of Islamic ethics in construction project, for example, are justice and equality, trust, benevolence, and sincerity. Now, moving to our finding and discussion, the table in front of us shows us 3 papers. I took the guideline and the values needed for the project management. The first paper done in 2021 was the methodology for it was qualitative research with the help of Atlas TI software. Found that the value of trust, fairness, compassion, shura, and team spirit are the values the people in the project management should act upon. And the paper in 2018, which used the qualitative approach and semi-structured interview, found 4 main factors that can affect project management, which are good deeds, righteousness, pity or fear of God, and accountability. The final paper in 2017, which used content analysis of peer-reviewed empirical study published in academic journals, found that in construction in the project, the principle of Islamic ethics are needed are justice and equality, trust, benevolence, and sincerity. Also, applying these ethics will lead to increasing the performance of the workers. Now, the findings we found that are 9 values and ethics. I will briefly describe these ethics and values, starting with the value number 1, which is good deeds. Now, this value means life provision. It helps the work environment to be more friendly, more better. As workers try to help and do good deeds to each other, will benefit the project. Now, the second one, righteousness, this value is considered to be a high moral one. It affects both the person doing the value and the receiver of it. See, as the team work with the responsibility and manners, this one will help managing the resources and communication in the project. The third one, pity or fear of God, this one makes worker more cautious and responsible towards their duties, towards the resources. So for a project manager, he will be more cautious in managing the resources, managing the tools, managing the money of the project. For the value of accountability and trust, this value is present in the relationship. We can see it in the relationship between man and God, where worker takes his task with seriousness, acts with justice. The manager of the project must act toward the project resources as heavenly trust. See, as he must respect the trust he has been given towards environment, towards project resources. Moving to fairness and justice, this value presents balance, okay, where the rights of the workers, the resources must be put in their right place. See, a project manager must act with justice toward the team and the resources, neglecting their race, religion, and focus only on their potential, their capability, their performance. For the sixth one, which is Shura, this value is a must in management. It's a force and help people to do meeting, brainstorming before making any decision. It helps in producing a quality worker, as it prevents selfishness, improve understanding of other rights and needs, condition and improve sustainability of the project. For the team spirit, this value is important for the organization of the project. As the team respect, love, and work together and prevent each other from doing any wrong action, all will lead to the benefit of the project. Moving to benevolence, this value means treating others with charity, with purity. It helps to make a business, a project, any professional work more flexible, as it improves productivity in the project. Finally, which is sincerity, this value means to act with truthfulness in words and behavior. It helps in preventing lies and taking advantage of others. As a result, it prevents misuse of resources, fraud, and following desire and self-lust. Moving to the conclusion of this presentation, the studies we have seen, we have cited our paper from, showed us what is project management in general, and what are Islamic ethics and value, and how they are connected. Now, the paper is concluded with a guideline of 9 Islamic ethics and values to be implemented in project management. The 9 ethics and values are good deed, righteousness, pity or fear of God, accountability and trust, fairness and justice, shura, team spirit, benevolence, and sincerity. Now, these ethics and values should be used and acted upon, as they can be used as a guideline in project management. See, these 9 values, if we use them as a guideline in any project, it can help and improve the success rate of the project. As now, with the development, it's not just about the 9, there is a 9 area of knowledge for project management. Now, the human factor plays a massive part in the success rate of the project. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hassan.
Thank you.
Nice research to present, talking about project management and Okay, what are the values that are related to Islamic ethics that can be applied in project management? Okay. Any feedback from the floor?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, Venosha. Yes, please.
Yes, my question, Mr. Hassan. I saw the term table research on your methodology slide, yeah?
Yeah.
It's a new term for me. Do you mind explaining about your methodology a little bit?
Yeah. So the concept of table research is basically from the name. It's just doing research from your own table. So I'm just sitting on my laptop, on my desk, just reading research and finding the information and the knowledge I just need. So there's no more. There's no, like, for example, a questionnaire or interviews. It's just reading of all the research and finding the knowledge I need.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay. So it's similar to a systematic review, like how I presented my data earlier, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Can you show me the slide?
The
Just now?
methodology.
Yeah. Just now.
Just a second. This is
Yes, yes. I asked because it is quite similar to a systematic review. So just wanted to make sure if they are the same.
Okay. Just a simple question. With the table research, is this so-called quote unquote acceptable in academic research?
yeah, because it's because I'm not producing like how to say it. I'm not doing calculation or finding new. I'm just doing an overview and collecting what other researchers have found to produce, let's say, like I did a guideline of what others have said.
Mm.
I see. Okay, okay. Thank you, Mr. Hassan.
Because the term is table research, so maybe you can use the term that is existingly in use by the academic research community. I think it's that reflect. Actually, what you are doing is exactly what Venosha is doing also.
Yeah.
You know, you do literature review from past researchers and literatures and so on. Okay. That is getting so-called the secondary data, you know, from
exactly
the organization and so on. So
it's a lightweight paper basically.
Yeah. Okay. Just to share, project management is quite common for everyone. Even without the basic project management, probably understand what project management is. I think the most important thing is the expectation of project management is to manage the resources and the time and the task and everything, so that the project can be delivered within time and within budget.
Exactly. Yeah. But there is a lot of factors affecting the project.
As simple as that. But then I mean, these values that you mentioned, 9 values, are good values. The question is, we may have a mix of the most important is we have many stakeholders in the project actually. Many stakeholders. Most importantly, probably the project sponsor. Who is the project sponsor? Normally, probably the CEO or the chief executive, the highest in the hierarchy of the company organization, will be the project sponsor. He is the one actually who can actually drive the resources across the board actually to make sure that tasks are delivered, tasks are done and completed within time.
Mostly it's affected by the project manager because he's especially in direct communication between workers, resources, and the board. So he needs to manage the risk factor, the human factor, time, schedule, money, all of these factors. So he has the most difficult job.
My question is, okay, so we have many stakeholders, yes, project sponsors, project manager, you know, the coordinators, you know, the technical team, and then the users, the testers, and so on. It can be across the board, you know, the mixture of people in the team. So if you are coming from the Islamic, the question is, there will be project members who are not Islamic, who are non-Muslim actually.
Yeah.
So
No, you're right. It's not a problem, to be honest, because for Muslims they take these values from the Quran and Sunnah. But at the same time, if you are not Muslim, it's fine, because like when you, let's say, take this guideline of 9 values and share it on the stakeholder, you can discuss it in just not in a, let's say, in an Islamic way. You can discuss it in its definition out of just Islam, without taking, let's say, Quran and Sunnah, and just take this value and apply it on your project. And anything is also needed for your project.
yeah,
But it's a let's say a human value. It's just not religion. And because every human will love to act with sincerity towards each other, with the team spirit, with the benevolence to each other. So it can apply on everyone,
yeah.
with understanding everything.
I see. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure whether does anyone here have any experience with project management? No?
No, not me.
No. I have actually. I had the experience of project manager, being a project manager and also a project director. Project director, the difference is compared to project manager is that project director is basically overseeing project managers for many projects, actually more than one.
Yeah.
So this is the role of project director. So if you've been a project management, then you know that it is like a war, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, very difficult job.
You know, when you sit at the end of the day, every day, you're looking at the task delivered and done and everything, you know, you look at the deliverable for the daily, monthly, weekly, it's like a war in the war room, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very difficult.
You know, you banging the table, you bang your handphone, you know,
there is always problems.
you
There's
throw
always
your
problems.
manuals and
Yeah.
your report, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that, you know. It's crazy, I tell you.
Yeah.
You have a meeting at 2 a.m. in the morning also.
Yeah, if it's needed, you have to. Yeah.
So it's nice. I mean, those values actually we can instill is nice, but in reality, project management is never an ideal situation where we can actually. It is a shouting match actually.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very, especially in construction project. Construction are the worst.
Not everyone can pass as a project manager. I tell you, you have to really have a you need to be cold-hearted, so-called.
Yeah.
To be a project manager. That's one of the criteria. With a characteristic, if you don't have one, the project is going nowhere actually. You have to be very firm. You have to be very disciplined actually.
Yeah.
Really. But anyway, thank you very much. Those values actually can be instilled actually. Even the non-Muslim can understand. Even the non-Muslim also can appreciate those are the values that we should have even. Not only managing project, but even managing our life day to day. We must have those values. We must have those values. So thank you very much, Hassan. Others, if you don't
thank
have
you for
any more
having me.
comment. So maybe those values like you mentioned, the 9, can be applied. So when we are in a war, that will keep us on our feet, and then calm, and we can make a doable decision, not a drastic decision, not a hasty decision. Is a informed decision. Is the most important thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. The last presenter, Dr. Nurhani Dayati.
Yeah, Nurhani.
Dr. Nurhani, are you related to Prof. Nazura?
Yeah, Prof. Nazura. No. Dr. Prof. Nazura binti Abdul Manap. She's not my.
Okay. You're not related because you share the last name.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now you can start now. Thank you.
Okay. Terima kasih kepada Dr. Safian. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good evening, Malaysia evening, but I don't know, Tokyo maybe.
I think Tokyo is about the same, I think same time with us, right, Prof?
Yeah, just one hour today.
1 hour ahead, right?
1 hour ahead. Okay. Okay. I share. Okey, sekejap ya. Oh, saya kena, saya tak boleh nak ni lah. Share.
Can you share? Boleh share tak you punya presentation?
Saya punya ni.
Ada button sharing tu dekat bawah tu.
Ya.
You click that button.
Okay.
No.
Nampak
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, before you start, we have to explain also to the others probably. This presentation is in local language in Bahasa Malaysia. So maybe Prof may not be able to understand. Maybe some others also, Ahmad atau may be having difficulty also to understand. But I hope Dr. Nurhani can probably explain a little bit here and there in English so that it makes sense to some of our friends here.
Okay, I try to deliver also in English. Okay.
Sikit-sikit lah, tak payah semua lah. Main point only.
Okay. So my topic is about in Malay, pelindungan hak pengguna dalam pembelian dan talian. It means that protection for consumer in online transaction. Then this is my topic. Okay. So as a I want to the background of my studies is about we know that the consumer have the protection for their rights as before pandemic, almost of the consumer, or we as a consumer, we do buy through physical shop and at mall, at shops, and then we have a law to protect us for our right, and we have for the consumer, we have several rights as a consumer. And so here since the pandemic, COVID-19, then the situation of the buying from the consumer move to online transaction. We have Shopee, we have what more, Lazada if in Malaysia, and so the question is here, how about the consumer online consumer? Do they have the protection for their rights also, like the consumer do the when they buy their what you call, when they buy in shop, then it is same like in the online, and then this is the question. So here this is my objective, right? I want to know either the consumer who buy online have the protection, and from the law perspective. My research is in the I do in Malaysia part, and not in the other country lah. And then my method is qualitative analysis, content analysis. Then I analyze research paper research before this, and also act and also statute, and also others guideline for the consumer, especially in online transaction. Okay, then so here who is a consumer? Then we know from the from John Kennedy, and he said that the consumer who is he said that consumer is we are a consumer, and as we also buy and buy everything that we need for our life, buy food and drink, house, and so on and so forth. So from the literature stated that the consumer is us, almost of citizen and are consumers. They because when they buy something that is for our use, not for sale, then we are a consumer. We not if we buy something and we sell the thing that we buy, it is not not categorized as consumer. This is a seller lah, and it's categorized as seller. But when we buy something for ourselves, then this is we are categorized as a consumer. Okay, so it is also stated in Malaysia we have a Consumer Protection Act in Section 3. So Section 3 also define and the consumer who buys something for household and for our purpose for our life, and this is when we buy something for
our own use, basically.
Yes, for our own use. Yes, this is a consumer from this law perspective. Then, as a consumer, we have to protect ourselves. And so, what is the beginning of the protection for the consumer? So, from the revolution and industrial revolution in 1913, I think. So we have the principle of caveat emptor, which is the mean of the caveat emptor is let the purchaser beware. So we have to, when we buy something, we have to check everything. Either, for example, when we buy phone, so we have to check that phone is original or not, is function or not. So we have to beware for ourselves. We have to check. So here have the concept of protection for the consumer, because it is related to the seller who always what we call override, tindas the consumer this, and the exploitation from the seller. So here we have the principle of the principle of protection for the consumer, and to avoid from the exploitation from the seller. Then here most of the country have the laws to protect the consumer, so as well as Malaysia. So here the consumer, because before this protect for the consumer who buy in physical, and then here my research want to see about the how about the online consumer. So what is the rights of the consumer as a consumer? So what is our right? So from the principle of protection of consumer, and then they from John Kennedy and from others expert also, they categorize the rights of the consumer. We have 8 of right of the consumer. First, right to get hak untuk mendapat keperluan asas, right to get the our basic needs, such as food, drink, house, and right to access our basic needs. This is the first right for the consumer. Second, right to get something, or right to get thing or service secure things and also service. We have to like hotel, when go to hotel, as a consumer, we must get the hotel is good, secure, and that is one of our right. And then right for claim
Refund.
remedy.
Is it refund?
Yes, refund one of the remedy lah, and untuk ganti rugi. And as a consumer, when we face cases, fraud cases, and misleading cases, then we have a right to go to the court to claim for our right, to claim for remedy. So that is the third one. The fourth is a right to get to access the information, all the information of thing or service that we buy. So actually the seller have to explain about, like we buy phone. So the seller have to explain what type of the phone, what is the function, what is the how much of the phone. So we have a right to get, we have to get the right, because we face, and if we buy from internet and from online, we always find the case that in the Facebook PM, there is no price, and PM me for the price, and PM me for the detail of the thing, for detail of the services, and so that show that they exploit our right, so this is one of our right to get to access the information. Then the fifth one is the right to suarakan pendapat, how to right to give opinion, and give opinion. Okay, then the sixth one is right to choose. When we have a variable of things and variable of service, when we have the right to choose which one we want to buy. The seven right is right to get consumer education. So actually the government, or some agencies have to prepare, or to prepare the education for the consumer, and what have the consumer do and don'ts for the consumer. And last one is right to life in good situation and hidup dalam alam sekitar yang sihat dan selamat, live in the good environment. There's 8 rights that most of the expert provide, and this is stated that this is 8 rights for the consumer. We as a consumer. So in Malaysia, how about the consumer who buy in online? Because in Malaysia we have for consumer, we have a Consumer Protection Act, and to protect the consumer. So the question is it the consumer who is online is also protected by this act? Because as a consumer in online transaction, technically we face so many cases that we not face from the physical, like in online we don't know who we buy and from who we buy, what age of the seller, and because sometimes maybe we buy from someone who is intentionally want to cheat us, and so technically they have online is more technical, have something that special to protect, but from our ex Kementerian Perdagangan Dalam Negeri, what we call that, Minister of consumer, regarding the consumer. So he stated that the act of the Consumer Protection Act also protect for the consumer in online. He state like that. Okay, so we as for that, my research, I see either and the government who have a we call have do many things to protect the consumer, especially in law. So they prepared the Consumer Protection Act, Akta Perlindungan Pengguna 1919. So actually they have make pindaan to make to amendment to this act to expand the protection of the consumer from the physical, and also protect for the online consumer. It happened in 2019 for the amendment for the Consumer Protection Act. So also in Malaysia we have FOMCA. This is a NGO which is a consumer Persatuan Consumer. What is association association of consumer, which is FOMCA is established before we have the Cabinet NCP or Minister of Consumer, and because the gerakan pengguna here, there's a movement of the consumers berjaya mewujudkan ialah FOMCA dan persatuan this association of consumer. And after that, when the movement of the consumer very high claim, and then the government try to they focus on for this consumer, then they establish the minister of the for the consumer, Ministry of Consumer, about the consumer. Then we have also NCCC, which is related also for the Cabinet NCP, which is an NCCC. They help the consumer who want to make claim, which is in Malaysia we have a tribunal claim for consumer. So consumer who want to make a claim, so they can go to NCCC to make a claim for remedies, and also if they are cheated by someone, then they go there for the claim. So this is the effort from the government, which is here effort. The effort is not for consumer in online, but also consumer as a physical. When I see government also have an effort to establish also the panduan dalam menjalankan transaksi elektronik untuk pengguna. So this Cabinet HCP, the minister also to give the education for the consumer. So they publish one of the guideline for the consumer how to make a transaction in electronic. And in 2013. So here for the consumer, online consumer, so if they want to be a smart consumer, so they have to read, this is the right of education from the government, that the consumer have to apa kata kena cakna lah, beware for this guideline. Then the other one, this Cabinet NCP also have published one of peraturan pelindungan pengguna. This is guidelines also. This is not guideline, rules for consumer protection, which is this rule 2012 201 2012. These rules stated about what the seller have to do. Actually, in the rule stated that the seller have eight tanggungjawab. What is the seller have to responsibility, which is the seller have to to inform about the price, inform about their syarikat, their organization, and inform they have a stated responsibility for the seller. So from the research, clear that the government have effort to protect the consumer online through the guideline and also the rules. And this is also regarding the right of the consumer to education and also right to claim the remedies. And okay, so as a conclusion, I can say that in Malaysia, the consumer is not only protected, not just the physical consumer is protected by the law, as the consumer in online also protected by the law. But here we have to have a kerjasama, cooperation between others to help to decrease the case of trade, to decrease the case of cheated and of fraud in the online cases. Then that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Nurhani. Thank you very much. Any question? Any feedback? Yes, Prof.
Would you kindly summarize what is the point? I cannot catch the mission of this study.
Okay, can you summarize, Dr. Nurhani? Can you summarize in points?
Summarize in points.
In point your finding and then your conclusion, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in my conclusion, in my point here, as a consumer and the online consumer, the consumer who buy online have a protected also by law, as well like the consumer who buy in shops, physical shops.
Okay, so but the limit here is in this country, in Malaysia, right?
Yes, my research is in this country. Not
You mean yeah? I have two questions. Just like protected by law mean the some kind of the wrong or the cheating online shop exists.
Yes.
Or
yeah.
security management of the customer data.
Yeah.
Or some kind of addiction of the shopping.
Yes. Is protected from the cheating and like
cheating. Okay. Cheating action. Why you try to build some specific system to protect customer to detect what is the cheating shop or not?
Yes, cheating.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Do you have the the information, Dr. Nurhani, about the number of cases of online abuse or online cheating or?
Yes, not from this topic, but in my research, because I have the cheating cases. It is actually increased from 5 years back, and from 2022 from 2017, and since PKP, so many cases regarding the mask, online shopping, regarding the mask, the sanitize, so because during PKP almost of us buying online, right, because of the PKP, because of
yes.
So the cases of fraud is high, and during the PKP.
Okay, understandably, because there is a corresponding increase in terms of number of transactions during PKP for online purchases, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of percentage, if if the number of transaction is higher, potentially the number of fraud or the cheating and so on is also increasing at the same time.
Yeah, I think
What does it involve? Big amount or
yes, because
many consumers affected and so on?
many consumers affected lah, and then actually amount sometime thousand juga kan, thousand. But the more higher kerugian tu about the scam. Scam is more higher than this online transaction, because in cheating in online they have some categories, and this is buying in online. They have also scam, call scam, and this is also higher, but scam, this is not include in my area of research. But call scam also contribute higher kerugian lah, and the
okay, for scamming, for scammers, for scam issue, basically these are also cheating via the online.
Yes.
Are the consumer protected also under the same law?
I think it is under the criminal area.
So under criminal law, not under Consumer Act or anything.
The consumer protection, no, because sometimes it is not regarding the buy something, because sometimes like from tax agencies and call.
Understand.
They call I am from court. You have
this is a scammer from Inland Revenue and also from Justice Department. You know, you have outstanding court cases, you have outstanding fine and so on. So people are scamming from this area. Yeah, a lot actually.
Yeah, so that part of that categories of cheating is under the criminal.
Maybe lepas ni Dr. Nurhani have the opportunity to look at the criminal law pula lepas ni kan. And, that you write another paper to look at the criminal law pula lepas ni.
Because at Malaysia we have kanun kesesaan, so also kanun kesesaan we have one provision which is stated about the cheating, which is publicly, then they involve the criminal cases.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Interesting also. Okay, I think is there any other questions? I'm opening up now question for at the end of the session. Maybe some of you saving your question towards the end of the session if you have anything. Okay, if you have not, basically I just to summarize back what will happen next after the conference is first thing first, we will generate your conference certificates and then we will email to you. Next is we'll be publishing the conference proceeding book, and then we'll email to you a copy also in PDF format, and then subsequently the final one will be doing your journal publication for all your full papers. Okay, all right, we will be communicating via emails, so any update and so on, we will deliver those via the email as well. All right.
One request. So
yes.
I'm delaying the submission, the final paper. That's why could you allow me that small delay?
No problem, sir.
Thank you so much.
You can but then how much time do you need? Because
no, just one more day.
Okay, that will be fine. Very much.
Thank you.
No problem. Because if I have all the papers in place, I can actually deliver the proceeding book earlier to all of you. Yeah. So thank you with that, Prof. And then okay, I think that's about all. That is about all. So so before we adjourn, first again I would like to record our appreciation for you joining this virtual conference and holding on until the end of the session. Okay, that I really appreciate very much. Secondly, I also thank you to you for submitting your manuscripts, abstract and manuscript. I think ada one or two paper that is still under review by our team. I hope you all be patient. It takes a little bit time, but I think we have no issue with acceptance of your full papers. And then wait for our communication via the email for the expected deliverables coming next after this conference. So again, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you. I really hope we cross our path again soon in our future conferences. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best in your undertaking. Keep researching, keep submitting paper, keep climbing up the ladders. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. I will see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nice organization.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.